And we are recording,
Okay,
Mr.
good. I'm ready.
And I like how we are both in all black.
Well, this is more of a charcoal.
That's right. It's more charcoal gray.
It's more of a charcoal because I'm more of like an earthy beige with like yellow undertones and a silky
That's
matte
right.
finish. So I have to make sure
That's
that I
right.
am
I forgot
strategic in
that.
my color scheme.
Yes, I forgot that CMO doesn't see color. That's how he solves racism every single day.
You know what? We had a diversity and equity and inclusion training a few years back. This is when George Floyd was murdered and there was so much activity on like social media and a lot of I think very necessary protesting. And so the company was like, okay, maybe we should have a training. And they called on this one person and she was like, I just want you to know that I don't see color, and, I thought to myself, "This is so bad because we work in eye care. So if you don't see color, that's bad. Of course we see color, you know what I mean? But if you don't see color, then this may not be the industry for you, and you have similar visual acuity to that of a canine. So, like, I don't know what to tell you, girl, you know."
She got fired that day.
I was like, "Oh, no, don't say that."
Now she's
Um,
homeless.
I
All
think
things.
when people say that, I hope they have good intentions, but they're not acknowledging the fact that, like, racism exists, and whether we want to admit it, we've all been, probably guilty of having some sort of microaggression or, following some sort of stereotype, but you have to just acknowledge the fact that you're a work in progress, and we strive to be better, do you know what I mean?
Wow, that's very deep for before we even get the 3, 2, 1.
But there's been times when, even if it's not regarding race, it could be regarding sexual orientation. Like, someone, like, at work could say something sassy, and I'm like, "This faggot." Of course they would say shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a discriminatory against my own community sometimes. I have to check myself, you know?
See, ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens when SEMO takes a gummy.
Hasn't kicked in yet. I just took it. Give me 30.
No, I do think that people are trying to also find like the right thing to say sometimes just to say it when they could just like be quiet.
Yeah.
Especially like people who don't meet members of the other side very often, or maybe they, yeah, they don't speak to them very often, and they're just trying so hard to fit in. Where it's like, I have black friends. Cool, thanks.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Don't worry, I'm not a racist. Cool, thanks, Steve.
Or
Nice.
people say, "I'm not racist," but you're like, "Uh-oh, the
Uh,
next out of your
uh,
mouth is gonna be an HR nightmare." And by the
uh,
way, my gummies on the back, it says, "Start with 1 gummy, wait 2 hours for full effect before consuming more." Who the fuck is gonna wait 2 hours
yeah, no,
to
some
see if this works?
losers. Anyways,
I don't know.
before Simo picks up another topic, we're gonna do this and 3, 2, 1.
What are you doing?
Testes in my mouth.
Get on the ground, you fucking pledge!
Ew.
Welcome to the greatest podcast experience of your life. This is the Frat Chat Podcast.
All young men like 3 things: food, booze, pussy.
Featuring Carlos Garcia and Chris Moore.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the greatest podcast in the history of podcasting time. It's the Frat Chat Podcast. I'm Carlos Garcia with CMO Moore. Let's go, Mr. Man.
What's up, man? I'm good. How are you?
I am good. I feel like we covered a lot of ground already. 4 minutes that we've been here.
So what do
6
you think
seconds.
about the tariffs currently and our financial
Oh,
crisis
man.
and the stock market? What's your credit score and blood type go?
What's the meaning of life? Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
Yeah. And who decided that that a purple onion would be called a red onion? Because it's not really that red. Like a red pepper.
Point. That is a very good point.
These are things I think about.
Yeah, why is it called a red onion? It's really more like maroon, if anything.
And green onions aren't really onions.
Yeah, that's true.
I think about this stuff all the time. Like, the fuck? Who came up with this?
Any
Like someone didn't go to preschool. You got to learn your colors and your shapes before you can learn anything else. You know?
Well, maybe, it was just like, like this one guy at work, it was just that week where all like the caveman were naming shit. Like, God damn it, you guys never let me choose to name everything. Because you always name shit stupidly. What the fuck? Come on, guys, just let me name one thing. Fine. You name that onion. Very easy to name. Look at it. Purple onion. Oh, you gotta name it. It's by the color, what it is. Can you handle it? Yes. Okay, what's you gonna name it? Red onion. God damn it.
It's like we've got yellow onions, we have white onions, and what is this? Red! Give it to him. Just give it to him. Let him have this, and we'll just keep it moving. Let's move on to the next topic.
And then every time he asked again, they just pointed to that onion. It's like,
Yeah.
this is why, you motherfuckers. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking. That's my personal guess.
Well, on a different note, Carlos Garcia, you've been in the news lately.
Oh shit. Oh shit. I thought you'd forget.
Is there anything you want to tell the public, tell the listeners what you've been up to?
All I have to say, you guys, is that I did not. I repeat, I did not have sex with that corpse on the train.
Not what the news said. The article said that Carlos Garcia fucked a dead body.
I did not. I know we interviewed the brother last week before the guy's name was released, not knowing that it was Carlos Garcia. I did not have sex with a corpse on the train. I just stuck my pinky in its butthole and then
I saw the article and I was like, wow, I mean, you think you know somebody, right?
yeah,
Oof.
right.
Ooh.
I know. That of all the things that my name has been matched up to, and it's been matched up to some terrible people. Like, the Carlos Garcia is a very common name. It's been terrorists, FARC leaders, all kinds of shit. And now a corpse fucker. I think that tops the list. So you just know I'm gonna get detained or some shit by someone. Yeah, I saw your name. You're wanted, buddy. So I'm not leaving my house till they catch that guy because I know he's out. He's still out there. I think. Fucking weirdo.
So answer me this, off the record.
Yes.
Was it good?
I'm telling you, it wasn't me. It was
Okay.
It was incredible. I'll tell you after the show.
Yep.
Oh man. So yes, I hope they catch that Carlos Garcia, who's giving us the club of Carlos Garcias a very bad name. I'm pretty sure in New York there's probably like 10,000 Carlos Garcias, maybe even more. So come on, buddy. Gotta get consent.
Yeah.
Even from the corpse, you can at least like stick your hands up there like a puppet. Yes.
And also, like, don't have sex on trains.
Yeah, that's weird. Just so gross.
Go to Central
Everything
Park
about
like
that's
all the other
weird.
homos.
That's why the grass grows so green in Central Park. It's all the cum.
Yeah.
It's the secret ingredient. It blooms all year round.
Yeah.
See, the cum protects it from the snow.
That's why my lower back is green. Wait, what?
That's right.
What just happened? My husband's so romantic. Sometimes I like really know he loves me because he bends me over, pulls my shirt up over my head, plows some shit, squirts on my back, and then throws me a rag. And I'm like, this is true love. This
He just
is what it's
sticks
all
it on
about.
there like just sticks it on there like a Post-it note. Pat!
Yeah.
It's got the laundry list on there.
Yeah.
Tomatoes, eggs.
Then he says, I'm hungry. Have at it. Make me a sandwich.
That's right. Woo-wee.
Woo-wee.
Anyway,
Anyhow.
it is time now, you guys, for a segment that the people love because it is for the people, by the people, because it is emails from the listeners. Oh yeah, and we got some good ones. We got some good ones this week, Mr. Mo. I got a fun one myself here. I'm excited for this one. I think you'll enjoy it as well. So this guy, who I have to say, very well versed in pop culture. He's either someone like me or he's gay. There's no fun. There's no in between. But he goes, "Hey guys, I love the show and I love when you guys play Fuck, Marry, Kill. And I got a reality TV scenario for each of you guys, even though the first one's not reality TV. So I think he just meant reality slash TV scenario for you guys.
I think you should
Regardless,
mark this up with a red pen for grammar and usage and spelling and send it back to him.
that's right. Fucking idiot. And note, he also put fuck with F and 3 little stars. Like, dude, what the fuck? You could write fuck in a fucking email, you fucking fuck. What are you doing, Jack? Come on.
Loser. But thank you for your support.
But he goes, fuck, Mary, kill. He gave a scenario for me and a scenario for you. I'll say them out loud so you can think about them. The
Okay.
one for me is Topanga, Kelly Kapowski, and Kelly Bundy from our 90s crushes list.
Ooh, that's good.
And for you, Simo, you got Jax, Tom Sandoval, and Tom Schwartz from Vanderpump Rules.
Okay.
Up the good
Ooh,
word, Josh Marilyn. And I saw honestly the Vanderpump Rule thing, and I had to fucking pick that list. I'm like watching The Valley again and watching Traitors season 3 with Tom Sandoval in it. And it
yeah.
was like ridiculous how actually entertaining he ended up being on that show.
How is he doing? Or is it done?
The
Is it
show
over?
ended. He made it actually pretty far, but
Okay.
there's an episode that is like one of the greatest things I've ever seen in reality TV, where there's like a challenge where they have to pick up go through these like dolls, and when you pull the string and the doll sings something, but their dolls are singing backwards, and you have to memorize what they're singing, then call on a telephone to the group of other people who then have to memorize what you're saying and play it on a tape, which then plays it forward, and then they have to guess the jingle that the doll was singing backwards. And Tom Sandoval, using his singing skills, is going with these dolls, and he's like trying to do it, and call him on the phone. And he's like, oh, ah. And it is. I'm not going to tell you how he does, but it's like one of the greatest.
Do you watch that show? I think it's like Special Forces or something where they take
Yeah, I saw the
celebrities.
season with him in it.
I thought he did pretty well,
He did pretty.
and I thought that it was a shame that he was eliminated during it was like the psychotherapy aspect, and I was like, that's not fair. Like he didn't give up, he didn't quit, but they were like, you're not emotionally prepared for this.
Well, he kept talking about his breakup, and it's like at the time I know that was what was in it, and I think that's what it was like. He's like, "Dude, you're clearly not. You're clearly like having a mental breakdown over your ex here on the show." I think that was the problem with him because he brought it up several times, but like no one asked, and that's like I know at the time Scandal was a big thing, but like within that world, I'm sure no one gave a fuck. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
but meanwhile, it does play a role in this show Traders. And honestly, he kind of redeems himself in it. It's if you haven't seen it, I had only seen season 3 because I had seen like an episode or two because Julie was into it. But I told her, let me know when you get to season 3, which is the latest one, because I want to see Tom Sandoval in it. And now I'm gonna go watch seasons 1 and 2. But it's a good show. But anyways, he said, keep up the good work, Josh from Maryland. Another reason I chose him because we love Maryland here on this show.
We have a fraternity brother named Josh who is a really cool guy. He used to be one of my favorites. I don't know what he's up to now. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
this is definitely not him.
Oh, well, I like Josh's in general because I can only compare it to the Josh who was a awesome dude. Okay, so
Anyway,
so
so
what?
yeah, you can go first.
Me go
Jax, Tom
first?
Sandoval, you go first. Yeah, Jax, Tom Sandoval, and Tom Schwartz. Fuck
I would
that.
have to get rid of Tom Sandoval off the bat just because I um I just find him annoying. He's good television, but I feel like after sex he would roll over and be like, "We never talk anymore. What are you thinking?" I feel like he would call me at the wazoo afterwards and just be annoying and show up unannounced, and I just don't get a good vibe. So I would get rid of him. I would fuck Jax just to say I did because everyone else has. So it must be a good lay. Um, and Thomas Schwartz, I think, can walk on water. I just love him so much. I think he's level-headed. I think he's a sweet guy. I think he's super cute. I think he's funny. I would marry him in a heartbeat.
Nice. And Jax would probably let you do a line of cocaine off his boner. So
Um, I've
you know
never
he love.
done cocaine, but I would let him do one off of me.
I'm sure he'd love it.
I
But
think
now
he's
he's
gotten
in
old with
rehab.
the
Good
with
for
the
him.
dudes before.
Yeah.
There were accusations that he kinda had a thing with an older gay man in Florida back in the day,
Ah,
it's like riding a bike, like, once if you fucked
yeah.
one asshole, you have the ability to fuck a million assholes or be fucked, you know what I mean? Like,
It's like our comedian and friend Barack Ziv says, it's like riding a bike once you take off the seat.
yeah,
So
exactly.
shout out to Barack Ziv. That's a great tag. Um, yeah, I think I'm with you. That would be a good way to do it, especially because you can't really trust Sandoval anymore. But I feel like he'd be a weird lover too. I feel like with Jax, you kind of know what you're getting. And Tom Schwartz, I feel like that's a guy you can get old with and watch TV shows and shit. He's harmless. I like that. Now this one for me, Topanga, Boy Meets World, Kelly Kapowski, Saved by the Bell, and Kelly Bundy, Married with Children. That's like that's a who's who of my Carlos Garcia boner jams list. 2K90s list because like goddamn. But even though I know Topanga would be a fantastic wife because obviously they make a reboot of Boy Meets World called Girl Meets World, which is them with kids, and now the kid going through the thing. I think I got to get rid of her, and I would marry Kelly Kapowski because she's just to this day goddess on earth.
Tiffany Amber Thiessen, but now she's just Tiffany Thiessen. She dropped the Amber. Is
That's
that her
right.
name?
That's right. Uh, she is like the golden girl. And Kelly Bundy, I feel like I would have banged Kelly Bundy because that would have been so fun.
Well, Christina
Like,
Applegate now is really going through it with multiple sclerosis. It's
I
so sad.
I feel so bad. That's such a horrible disease. But she is a boss for battling through it. But yeah, Kelly Bundy. The thing is, you don't want to marry into the Bundy family. You know what I mean? Imagine that.
Yeah.
Kelly Kapowski lived in Bayside, the rich ass family. Uh, and Topanga, yeah, I feel like between Kelly Kapowski and Kelly Bundy, you get no offense to Topanga, but
Oh, I agree 100%. I
coming
agree
third.
100% with what you said.
So,
I
and
would
I
do the
love it.
exact same thing.
Very nice. See, we get that's why we're friends, Simo. That's why we're friends.
Yeah. We have the
So,
same taste in vagina. Uh,
right. So shout out to Josh from Maryland. Sexuality questionable. Just kidding. We love you. Thank you so much for the email. And now Simo he has one too now. What you got?
I got one from this guy named Cooper in Virginia.
Mhm.
Cooper. What an all-American name that is.
It sounds like
Alright,
a
so
dog.
huh?
You sure this sounds like a dog. Stella has 3 dog friends named Cooper, so
Oh,
I'm
really?
not convinced this is not written by a dog. I also see it's a very short email, so
Well, it's also the name of a reindeer, right? Cooper, Connor, Blitzen, you
what?
know,
Cooper?
Dewey, Huey, Louie, I don't know.
Is that like the hipster one?
No, I
See them
I
gags?
guess it is the hipster one, but I think that's the name
Rudolph,
of
you
our
wanna
one
take a
of
hit of my
Santa's
vape?
reindeers. Huh?
Rudolph, you wanna take a hit of my vape, bro?
Yeah, exactly. And then they're gonna play with a hacky sack.
That's
Um,
right.
Cooper, thank you for your email. He's writing in from Virginia. He said, I'm interested in Russian a fraternity. What to look out for? What are some red flags? I think that's a great question. I would say it depends on what you're looking for. So if you're looking for something as like a resume booster, um, then you probably want to avoid the fraternities that have a reputation for extreme hazing, as cool as they may seem, as many girls as they may get, and as popular they may be with the sororities. If there's a lot of rumors that they are intense with hazing, then there's the possibility that they can get in trouble, and then everyone that's an active member gets expelled. And so, if you're looking to advance yourself academically, then there are academic fraternities that you can do within your field. They're not as exciting, they're not social fraternities, but that's one route to go. But if you're looking to like party and whatnot, then I think a great resource for you would be to check with the sororities and see what they think are the cool fraternities. Me
Mhm.
personally, if I can go back in time, I would look to see how diverse the fraternity is. And in the rush events, I would look for numbers. I think there's power in numbers. So some of the fraternities during rush events, a lot of the active members didn't care to support the rush events. They just didn't care. And so I feel like that is a huge red flag. If your fraternity isn't actively enthusiastic about rush events, which is like the backbone of membership, then I feel like you probably have a bunch of duds in your fraternity. So I don't know. What would you say?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I would say numbers. I agree in the terms of like enthusiasm. Like you want people to show up and show out for the fraternity, but I don't. You don't want to be viewed. For example, I remember there's certain fraternities way back when we were in college. Jesus, where during rush week, I know for a fact that those guys trying to quote unquote rush me were did not remember who the fuck I was going to be, 15 minutes after they saw my face. They just saw me as a potential number. And had a spiel that they said to every single person that they spoke to. And it was a numbers thing for them. And for those, it was like, fuck you guys. I don't want to be like some sheep to be herded by you guys. I like where I liked our fraternity was that people actually like did take the time to get to know me, and I would see them out, and I was like, "Hey, what's up, dude?" And I don't know, it was like I had like a lot of friends in it already, so it made sense for me to join. So trust your gut and just go with you would somewhere where you feel comfortable, you feel at home, and like Simo said, I would look for diversity too, just because honestly that helps you grow and that helps you come up with different ideas and shit. And it's not about DEI or none of that shit. It's just literally like if you have a room full of 10 white guys who all have the exact same life experiences, you're going to come up with one set of ideas. If you have a room full of 10 Venezuelans who all have the same upbringing, you come up with a room of one set of ideas. But if you mix that group into 10 and 10 and now you have diverse ideas and you can start collaborating and shit and things evolve. So I would say definitely look for diversity as well.
Can I add to that really quick about diversity? As a gay person, when I see a room is incredibly white, my assumption is okay, they might be conservative. Because if they aren't down with diversity, there's a very good chance they may not be down with homosexuality or just queerness in general. And I think they might not be down with diversity and immigration and you know DEI initiatives. And so it to me is a little alarming when it's like white. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
that's what
yeah,
I think. And but fraternities are historically overwhelmingly white.
yeah. So, but I mean, things have been changing, and at least with us, for example, like my pledge class, and this was in 2007. Yeah, started getting more diverse, and then things started getting more diverse after that. And by the time I left, in 2012, it was pretty goddamn diverse. I mean, I had people from every background. So now in 2025, I think they have Greek life as a whole has definitely diversified. But note that with a lot of the stories that we've shared about hazing and shit, a lot of campuses are cracking down on it, because there's been accidents, it's getting a lot of coverage. There's still kids dying. So depending on where you go, you don't want to go somewhere where, like Simo said, it's too extreme because, no, some kids don't want to get hazed at all, and you can find out, if there's a pledge process that there isn't ahead of time. People from campus fucking know.
Or
But if
even
it's
just
too extreme, you
pillow
can really
talk.
get in trouble.
A
Yes.
lot of guys when they're pledging or even when they're after they've been initiated, they tell their significant others, and we all know that college romances are always fleeting, and then someone tells someone else and tells someone else, tells someone else. And so the girls would tell me what I was walking into for most pledge events. They're like,
Wow,
"Oh, have you done this yet? No, wait, what is that?" Like, "Oh, they're gonna make you do this."
that's
Oh
funny.
shit.
That's funny. That's cool though. Yeah, I never had my big would tell me to either smoke before a pledge event or not smoke. I was like, you want to be high for this, you don't want to be high for this. And usually when I was like eating stuff, he's like, you want to be high for this. Or if it was something like really boring, but if it was like knowledge stuff, he's like, trust me, you don't want to be high. So it just depended. But like ours fraternity was like, I would say like middle of the barrel as far as like hazing. There was like super extreme ones out there that I would never join because then you start getting to gay stuff and humiliation and getting hit and things like that where Papa don't play that game. So trust your gut with that kind of stuff is what I would say to wrap it up. And because if you feel like something's wrong, you shouldn't be there. That's how things end up happening and you end up in the wrong place or worse. So I would just say that trust your gut. Don't go somewhere too extreme because especially nowadays where things are cracking down. And don't be a nerd.
Yeah.
Fucking nerd. Yeah.
Speaking of
Anyway,
nerds, remember Lambda Chi on our campus? They were such losers.
uh,
And
I
and
like that. Fucking look at you. When you
dude,
rush,
they'd be like, "You wanna
speaking
come
of
over and play my
impressing the
flight simulator?"
yeah,
Um,
you fucking losers.
fucking losers.
Chris, you can be vice president.
Oh,
Chose.
speaking of fraternities, did you see that Buckwheat passed away?
Mhm. I
So
did.
Buckwheat is this guy that would come over and like teach us the do's and don'ts of the rush process, and he is very expensive to have come visit your campus. And so
If you go
he
back to season 1, we spoke
yeah,
of the length of Buckwheat, and he's in the intro. See my doing an impression of him. Oh, yeah, man, I have 3 things: food, booze, pussy. That is Buckwheat's.
yeah. Food, booze, pussy. So he was quite the character. I mean, he was an interesting guy. Like he would talk about girls, and I would think to myself, like, when's the last time you've seen your penis? And when is the last time you've inserted your penis in something
Yeah.
that isn't like a toy, or like a couch cushion? So like I had an interesting perspective of him, and I don't know if it was worth what he was worth. But from what I hear and what I've seen online, he was a nice guy, well liked, and harmless, gentle soul. So it's sad that when anyone passes away, but I didn't realize how many people he's touched in a
Wait,
consensual,
wait, what?
manner. So
Did you have to say it like that? Is
I mean,
that
like, the people he's influenced, I guess I should have said.
there
Um,
you go. That's
I
much
didn't necessarily
better.
have like,
Let's leave the eulogies to me next time, Seema.
yeah. So I don't know if I necessarily had like a, you know, amazing experience with him. I didn't find him to be that insightful. But I had very few interactions with him. So maybe some of the other brothers had like some really thoughtful conversations and whatnot. But there was a lot of there was an outpouring of support to his family and condolences and whatnot. So did you ever meet him?
No, no,
You
I
didn't meet
never.
him.
No, I just saw pictures, but never.
What you think of the pictures?
She's interesting.
Oh, I'm going to hell. Rest in peace. Rest in peace.
It looked like John Goodman cosplaying Bob Ross.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what I can think of. That is the nicest way I can say it.
And his
So,
gumbo gave us all the runs.
yeah, no, I'm not trying gumbo made by that man.
Can you imagine going to a Rush event and they're like, hey man, welcome once you meet everyone, but first get a good bowl of gumbo.
Fuck no.
I'd be like, no thanks.
And meet him. And hello, kids.
If a special guest, let me introduce you to someone. I don't know. And
Yeah,
then the president at the time, we called our president the Preakness. So the Preakness at the time was really proud of this. He's like, "Hey, what do you
no.
think? I brought him here." And I think to myself, don't tell people that because just let it be. Don't take credit for this. You should just not bring it up.
You paid $12,000 for that man to
To
come
make
give you all
gumbo. Yeah.
the. Anywho, oh man! Speaking of booties and deaths, this is a terrible segue. Oh god, go straight to hell. But anyways, I got a story.
It's a great segue.
And this week, I sent Timmy out to get my groceries because he is useless with the button, and I actually ordered. I had him come get me like a few things, right? And I ordered 14 things from him, and he texted me saying that two of them were not available. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And then he shows up with three things, and I'm like, what happened with the rest of the stuff? And he just sat there, and I was like, it's like, what do you mean you don't know? Can you go get it? And then he's been gone for like 2 hours. So I don't know what happened to my groceries. Hopefully he has them. But note to you, never give him your credit card. That was
I was
on
gonna
me.
say, are you ever gonna get your credit card back?
Yeah, that was really a bad mistake. Definitely shouldn't have done that. So try to find good help, people. But that is what we do. But anyways, we got a news story for you guys that actually happened right in CMO's next door. And I can hit it myself. Oh yeah, because this happened in Astoria, Queens, New York City, where a mom has unfortunately died after complications from, you guessed it, an ass implant surgery performed in a Queens home. Left her brain dead. Because, that happens all the time. And the man who allegedly performed it was arrested after attempting to flee to the airport. Her name is Maria Paz Peñalosa. She's 31 years old, so goddamn, that's awful. So young. Went to Felipe Hoyos Forondas. See, this is why you get Latino people on the show, so we can reach
Yeah.
you. Went to his private home in Astoria, Queens in March to have her implants removed from her butt. Her family told the New York Daily News. And then I quote from her sister. She went there because a friend had already gone there for an operation and recommended him. Her sister, Linny Peñalosa Cabrera, told the outlet, explaining in Spanish that a friend who went with Peñalosa to have the butt implants removed said she was taken away from the home in an ambulance. God damn. From the time the ambulance came and while she was in the hospital, doctors were trying to revive her for 2.5 hours. The mom of two boys, aged 3 and 1, was taken off a ventilator and 2 weeks later died. The results of lidocaine toxicity, the outlets report. Lidocaine is
Lidocaine.
Lidocaine, sorry. Lidocaine is the most commonly used local anesthetic, but too much of it can cause seizures, coma, cardiac complications, and death, according to the National Library of Medicine. First responders on the scene called the police, who apprehended Hoyas Fronda at JFK International Airport, who was trying to board a flight. And if you see a picture of this guy, he looks like he's like about my age. I would not trust a butt implant from him. But uh, the New York DN reports that he told police he was licensed in Colombia, and the police said he didn't have a license to practice medicine in the U.S. Shocker. He has pled not guilty to charges of assault in the second degree and unauthorized practice of profession. A GoFundMe has been established to help the family. In Colombia, traveled to the U.S. to say goodbye to Maria Paz with dignity. And the family left a statement saying Maria was a very happy person, very family oriented. She always wanted to be around us at home. We'd always spend the holidays at her place. So they will miss her. It's a terrible, unfortunate story, but and this is something that I blame my people, not being Latinos. This is the kind of shit that we fucking do. Like, oh yeah, don't worry, I got a guy. We don't need to go to the hospital. I'm gonna get my ass implants removed by some dude in a house. Like, what the fuck,
Now,
dude?
did she I was confused. I kept reviewing the article, but, reading's a struggle. So, I where did she get the implants done in the first where did she get the implants done from the beginning?
That it doesn't say, but I think she probably got them done legitimately.
Or she went to Colombia and then she's not
Yeah,
back there and
exactly.
they were
Like
like,
a doctor somewhere, like a hospital. But then when it was time to get them removed, it's how much is that going to be? That shit's not covered by your insurance. Um, so that's
though, this is what makes me upset is that, like, um, the radical right will find this story and they're gonna capitalize on it and they're gonna say, you know, they'll say that people from South America or what did Ted Cruz say recently in a debate? He said they're the murderers, they're rapists, or whatever. And now they're gonna add, they are um uh crooked doctors too.
ass implants.
Yeah. So they're gonna say this happens all the time, and we gotta be careful. And they're gonna get the people down south all riled up, like, oh my god, like, people from Colombia moved to America to butcher citizens, like we're at risk, So they're gonna exploit this story. This is a onesie twosie, and this I'm sure happens
Or
um
at least
other places.
go past that. But the person that died was a Latino woman, so I don't know if the media will care too much. Now, if it was a white woman, then we'd be in trouble.
That's
So
sadly true.
So I think we're safe this time. But if it does happen again, and the target is white, I can definitely see in addition to Trump's. They're eating the cats and the dogs. Okay, believe me,
Yeah.
they're butchering people's booties. Okay. So, God, that's just awful, though. And especially she had two young kids too.
Yeah.
Beautiful woman. Again, people, if you're
Super sad.
this is just a lesson in life. And we've spoke about this that people don't know that the thing with implants also you have to get maintenance and shit. Sometimes you have to remove things, but like you don't just get the one implant, you're done for the rest of your life. So if you're gonna get an implant, note and the decision making, you have to note whether you put it in a separate bank account, whether you put it in a bond saving, whether you buy stock with it. I don't give a fuck. You put it under the mattress. You have to have money to swap out those things, or removal in a few years because you either have to swap them to replace them with new ones because they start to get shitty and they can lead to toxicity or them exploding in there, or sometimes you want to go back down. But most people don't realize this and they save money for the one surgery, not realizing that in a couple of years you need money for another one, and that's when things get dicey. So don't be stupid. Make sure you have money saved if you want to do something like that. But also, who the fuck gets ass implants anymore? Come on. Just don't fucking do it.
Most
Don't do
most Latin chicks have good asses to begin with.
Yeah, exactly. We have booties. Just fucking go do some squats, girl. Like, come on, we don't
Now,
need this
I
shit.
don't know if ass implants are different than breast implants, but breast implants normally have a lifespan of 10 to 20 years. And so like, if you're like scratching, like not scratching, scraping your savings together to get this one surgery because you've always wanted breast implants, then you're doing yourself a disservice because you need to have enough money for 2 to 3 surgeries, depending on how old you are. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
With maintenance.
Exactly. So come on, dude. Don't be stupid, people.
And the plastic surgery place is not gonna come back and be like, "Hey, make an appointment on the calendar. We'll call you in 10 years to come back and get this replaced."
Right.
Pro bono. It doesn't work that way.
Exactly. Exactly. They benefit from things also going wrong so they can charge you more. So and again, plastic surgery is not covered by insurance when it's cosmetics. So keep that in mind.
Yeah,
But anywho,
trust the experts.
that is that. And lastly, yeah, that's right. We are internet doctors here. You can totally trust us. We're
Boom,
definitely more
boom,
qualified
boom,
than people than
boom.
RFK. I'll tell you that much.
Mhm.
The shit that he's out there saying. Autism is they're gonna make it so kids will never go on a date or pay taxes or pet a puppy or go to the restroom unattended. And it's like, what are you talking about, bro? he's really off the deep end with this autism shit.
Oh, and
We're
he
gonna
said
find a cure for it by September. Sure,
he
buddy.
he said that autism ruins family and that the families that just makes me so sad. Like he needs to be really careful of the things that come out of his mouth. And I sound so shitty because I don't want to sound discriminatory against anyone that has a disability or any sort of like struggles in life, but like I
Here comes the
his
butt.
voice is like nails on a chalkboard to me. I can't handle it. It makes me so uncomfortable. I wish he had a spokesperson. If it's that difficult to speak, then like have someone speak on your behalf. Prep
Honestly, I
them.
wouldn't I wouldn't even do the voice if he wasn't out there spewing the most harmful shit. He's directly
He's
led to people not
dangerous.
getting vaccinated and dying because of the bullshit rhetoric that he puts out there. So, it's like if Hitler had a funny voice. You know what I mean? Fuck him. I'm making fun of that voice all the time. I'm not.
Yeah.
Especially if you're out there, autistic people don't know how to throw a baseball. So what are you talking about, you moron? Have you met a single autistic kid? Like, they fine. Like, they can do a lot of things. Like, what are you saying? But
I didn't know Hitler personally because he allegedly died a long time ago. But I would venture to
yeah, that's
say that he probably had a gay vernacular. For someone to be such a hateful prick, he had to have had some like deep rooted, like self identity issues of some sort. And I bet you he
disrespect
had,
like this.
I bet you had a lisp. I bet you because he was an artist that got like denied, or I guess he wasn't revered in the manner that he felt he deserved. So I bet you he was a sassy, ungrateful, like twat of a gay dude, and
The, the,
covered it up. I bet you
there's
he would
like
say things and then he would leave the room and people would be like, "Oh,
yeah, what a
that Hitler
loser.
guy's a little limp wristed, a little ACDC."
There's actually a very old Family Guy cutscene. This is from back the original Family Guy episodes, where it shows why Hitler hated the Jews, and it's like shows him in a gym, and he's all like weak, and he's like trying to like curl like this little teeny tiny weight, and he's struggling, and then he looks over, and there's like two super jack, like Hasidic Jews guys, like, huh, huh,
Oh,
huh.
really?
Hitler's just like, yeah, he definitely. I think it would be great. Imagine if Hitler talked like Mickey Mouse. Imagine all his speeches. Sing hell.
That's funny.
Oh God! I mean, would he have made it this far if he talked like Mickey Mouse? I don't know, but if he did, it would have been kind of impressive because with a voice like that, you know. But
Totally.
anywho, we do have a very special segment because we got to get rocking through this. You know, and I've been thinking a lot about this, Mr. Mo, and uh, your mom brought up a very good point, and she's not the only person to have said it, but we talk a lot about poop.
Yeah. Someone needs to.
This exactly, this fine uh, visual if you watch us on YouTube and verbal endeavor that we do. So I figured, why not have a nice little segment about it? Because poop is not always, you know, grimy. Poop can be classy. We're gonna prove that right here on the Frat Chat podcast. And shout out to the Instagram account York.England for this info. But Mr. Mo, did you know that the title of the most expensive poop in history belongs to an extraordinary Viking dookie dating back 1,200 years? That's right. It was
Oh.
discovered in York, England in 1972 during construction work. This remarkable specimen measured an impressive 8 inches in length and 2 inches in width, making it the largest fossilized human excrement ever uncovered. Ever. And I bet you other construction workers were like, hey guys, go check this shit out, eh?
Wait a second. Okay, so like you telling me that they were digging and they came across what I'm assuming is like a fossilized turd at this point,
That's
you
right.
know?
That's right.
And someone was like, everyone put your shovels down. We must call the Smithsonian. Like, it's like, because I would be like, ew. Like, guys, be careful. Don't touch it. You know what I mean? But
To be fair, it looked uh if
like
you
a
click
log.
there, yeah, almost looked like a log, almost like a deer paw or something. I feel like, and that guy in the picture is holding that shit in his hand, and I don't think he should be. It's still shit, buddy. I think
Yeah.
maybe they found it and they're like, "Who?" But it's kind of like Joe Dirt, like have you seen the old classic Joe Dirt where he finds that asteroid thing that he thinks came from space, and then he finds out, he's like carrying it around, he like eats off it, and then it turns out that it's just shit that was released from a spaceship that landed back on Earth
Yeah.
and it like hardened.
I
I
love
feel like
Joe
that's what
Dirt.
it was. They thought they found something worth something, and then it's like, oh, that is a piece of shit. Oh, however, this piece of poop was named the Lloyd Bank coprolite after the nearby Lloyd's Bank, where it was found, and it carries an astonishing valuation of around $39,000. Experts believe it originated from a ninth century Viking who suffered from intestinal parasites, offering a unique insight into Viking dietary habits and health conditions. Today, this fascinating artifact proudly resides at the Jorvik Viking Center. And to me, it's good to see that this discovery is good for science as well as history, because seeing the type of parasites and intestinal damage that this man had, as found in his poop, it proves that ancient Vikings actually depended on a diet of strict Taco Bell as well. And I had no idea Taco Bell was around that long. So very, very, very impressive knowledge here. So just saying, good stuff. Good stuff there, science. So yes, that was a quick, classy segment about poop. So put that in your poop and smoke it. But
um,
anyways,
were cannibals I'm sorry, not cannibal. Were Vikings cannibals?
No, no, they ate normal stuff, I think. But
I know they did like human sacrifice, especially the pagan ones, but um I was wondering if the parasites are because they're like, eating people.
so they ate a lot of meat, fish, vegetable, grains, and dairy products, fruits, berries, and honey. So yeah, they ain't normal shit. But I'm sure, I mean, the Vikings went on some fucking crazy deep journeys. Like, there's actually proof that the Vikings made it as far as like America way back when things were like fucking frozen and shit too. So like in those boats that they had to fucking row with like 30 dudes in there. So those are some bad dudes. Uh,
You know, I have to say, maybe what's impressive about this turd is the age of it or the scientific discoveries about like dietary um habits and what they say health conditions, but I must be honest, the 8-inch long, 2-inch wide size of it is not impressive to me, and so I hope that they don't say this is the largest turd in his. No, it's not large in my opinion. I've had some longer dumps, and if I knew there was a competition, then I would grab it with my bare hands and I would call the Smithsonian like these,
well,
these guys did. I
here's the
just
thing. It's not about just being the biggest. It's about being the biggest, well preserved poop. So you'd have to take this poop with your bare hands, as you said. Then I don't know, stick it in the fridge or something for a few years until it starts hardening.
or maybe in a kiln, like when they solidify clay.
That's right. That's right. So you gotta preserve this thing, and then the value goes up. So it's a long term project, really.
Noted.
So maybe by the time you're like in your 80s or 90s, you can sell it for like, I don't know, 15, $16.
Maybe.
So
One day you're gonna sit down with your and Julie's grandkids and say, "Guys, come here, put your hands out. Grandpa's a surprise for you." This turd has been passed down from generation to generation, and will one day be part of the Smithsonian. This is
that's right.
Garcia family
That's right.
history.
That's right. This turd was present at my wedding. It was my best man. It's 9 inches long and 3 inches wide. It tore my asshole deep, but boy, was it worth it.
And I preserved this, at a time when it was suspected that I had parasites and tapeworms. So
That's
this is
right.
gonna provide a lot of scientific information about how we lived as humans years from now.
I kept this in an urn next to your grandfather just to keep it safe. Oh, Jesus. Oh, man, straight to
The
hell. Anyway,
Vikings have nothing on this piece of shit.
that's right.
Fuck the Vikings. So,
So
yeah, I
I've
didn't
read
realize
it.
that preserving poop was so lucrative.
I mean, goddamn, dude, 1,200 years. That's a business worth getting into, boys.
When
So
my mom, had to poop in a bag on our family vacation, if I knew that poop was so revered, I would have been like, "Don't poop in a bag, poop on this canvas, and let's
that's
sell this shit."
literally sell this shit. Your mom could have retired by now, dude. You
Yeah.
got you really
Poop
missed the
in this
boat.
petri dish and let's notate it, chronicle every turd from this point forward
That's right.
in the hopes that we can be famous
Yeah, we
in
just
a
gotta buy
science book.
property, lots of property, and take all as many big poops as we can, and just keep them in jars, and then pass them down from generation to generation until it's ready. And then this is not project for us.
Can you imagine cataloging your shits and like walking someone through a scientist and being like, "Oh, I
Before
remember this
I
one.
die,
This was a good year."
yeah, before I die, I must introduce you to my poops. This was 2026. Chipotle, extra burrito, extra beans, extra meat, extra chicken. extra cheese, extra guac, extra everything. Look at the size and consistency. This one who is worth a cool million.
And also like this 5-year-old turd to your left was a great memory. Although bizarre in appearance being green, it actually came on the heels of St. Patrick's Day when I was eating cabbage
That's
and drinking green beer, and lo and behold, what you see before you is art.
and this last one right here. I went to an all white people barbecue. And some bitch put raisins in potato salad. Oh, I was constipated for 16 days, and then this bad boy came out.
When people talk about constipation, I'm always like, how? I can poop anywhere, anytime. I'm pee shy. It's hard for me to pee places, but like I can squat and push out a turd on a moment's notice.
He's actually doing it right now as we speak.
People
It slides right out.
are
That's
like, it's compact. I haven't taken a dump in so long. I'm like, you just need good reading material.
I have to say the only time I had an issue, which then went really wrong, was when I had my appendix surgery the second time. Because one thing with that, they don't tell you, they like basically like fill you up with gas to like expand your stomach and your intestines and your organs and shit so they can see what they're doing. But then when you're done, not only are your organs kind of shut down because someone's been in there, but also you're full of gas and you just like feel awful and you're bloated. But it takes like a couple of days for your intestines to get working normally again. So then when I got out of the hospital, I still felt like I couldn't poop. So then I went and got some laxatives. Then the problem was that I didn't realize I had to wait a few more hours for everything to wake up. So then when everything did wake up, I had to go, but then I had the laxatives in me. So then it was just so awful because I hadn't really eaten much. So then like nothing's really coming out, and I'm just in the toilet, like, oh god, this is the worst fucking day of my life. So that is the only time I've ever had something like
Yeah, and Julie was like, "What's going on? Do you need a plunge?" And you're like, "No, I need a shovel." Can you
that.
ask the neighbors if they have a shovel?
That's right. That's why we have an outhouse now.
Yeah.
Anywho,
Well, what's on
uh,
the agenda for today?
this is a very good episode, Mr. Mo, because this one will be useful for the gays. Uh, uh, yeah, it's Boogie. Because this week we're going to talk about cities in America where it could be good, it could be good, it could be bad. It's the best and worst US cities for a gay person to travel to because America is going through some shit right now, people. And I know the weather is finally getting nice, even though we're fucking midway through. Actually, 2/3 of the way through April, and it was like winter still in the East Coast for some reason. So people are going to be hitting the road, doing some traveling, and while you do that, if you're gay or have a gay friend that's traveling with you, it might be worth knowing the U.S. cities that you should go to and the ones that might be best for saving for another trip in a few years when things get a little better. So we're gonna hit you with those this week of the French Hat Podcast. However, my genius co-host over here spent some time because he did not
Me?
read that I said that this was the best and worst U.S. cities for a gay person to travel to, and he spent some time researching international cities.
Yeah.
So until he realized that this was a U.S. project, we have a couple of honorable mentions that are international.
Okay.
Things if in case you're going out there as well. So before we get to America, Simo's got some international cities for you. Hit it, Mr. Mo.
Okay, so before I get there, I just want to just kind of set the scene or set the stage, I guess, and say, huh?
I'm setting the scene for you. I'm lighting a candle.
Oh, nice.
There you go.
Sounds good. Should also put in a butt plug because things are about to get gay. Uh,
Put that in before we start recording,
oh, perfect.
just to feel
No,
like
they
you.
have butt plugs that have like the end of it. It's like a horse tail. So at these like yeah, so at these like gay like leather like sex party things, people they walk around looking like they have like a tail, but it's really just attached to a butt plug.
See, that's why I just grew my ass hair out, and I don't need to do
Well,
all
that works
that.
too. And is it long enough to braid it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, make it pretty. Okay, so I think about a lot of things when I travel, whether it's domestically or internationally. So, like if I'm traveling internationally, I'm even more concerned about it because it's not as easy to come home, you know. So I
Mm,
think to myself, does this country I'm about to visit criminalize homosexuality? Are there legal protections against discrimination and violence? Does the national or like predominant religion condemn homosexuality? Uh, in other words, like a lot of the least safe countries around the world are very um, conservative in religion. A lot of these religions, a lot of times these like West African countries are super Islamic, and they will like kill you
mm,
if you're gay, you know. So I think to myself, is there a weak law enforcement, or are they less likely to like defend and report a hate crime? So I just
right.
had these two locations I wanted to tell you about. Well, two and a half. So um there's this country I'm not super familiar with. I just know that some people have been moving there because there's a high standard of living. It's got low cost of living. There's no income tax, high quality schools and education, low crime rate. So you think, oh, that sounds great. It's tropical. Why not? It's near Malaysia. This country is called I think it's pronounced Brunei.
Okay.
Brunei. But in 2019, Brunei passed a penal code that made homosexual acts punishable by death by stoning. And this country is super strict, has like super strict Islamic religious laws. So, like, alcohol is illegal and dress codes are strictly enforced. And again, like, if you are caught in a gay act, I guess if there's no suspicion that they can prove, then you can be stoned to death. So, like, this is
Oh,
horrifying for someone who's gay, you know. Um, so I also think about China is like a huge like mega superpower in the world. But there's no explicit anti-discrimination protections for queer people in the legal system. Nor do hate crime laws cover sexual orientation or gender identity. So there is a history a long time ago where homosexuality was punishable by death. But then later in like the 1700s, you were just imprisoned and beaten with bamboo sticks or whatever. And then it wasn't considered like legal until 1949. um, but I mean, they've had a lot of ups and downs as far as like gay rights and whatnot. But what I wanted to point out that I don't think a lot of people know is that uh, China has like a mass surveillance system. Did you know this?
oh yeah.
The the mass surveillance in the People's Republic of China, and so there really isn't any place to like openly be gay without the risk of like being watched and like there being like some sort of like retaliation, you know what I mean?
Right. No, absolutely. And
So a survey in 2016 indicated that less than 5% of queer people are fully out at school, work, religious community, where about 15% are out to their families. It's like that's so sad to me. And that's the indication that like if people aren't comfortable to be out in the open, then something's not right. So like the calls coming from inside the house, you know? So
mhm.
so I think about that. You know, there's even like I'm sad to say this because a lot of my family is Polish and has some family in Poland, but I would never visit Poland either because um there was I'm not I think that a lot of this has been like repealed or has been like counteracted, but um a few years back they initiated LGBT free zones. So
Ooh,
like you like
really?
areas where like it was like completely banned and safe for people who they didn't believe in gay culture. Not, but like, Poland is also like extremely Catholic. So I'm like, how about you focus on like all the rapes within the Catholic Church instead of like criminalizing
Well,
gay
because that would
men?
actually solve the problem, and then if
Yeah.
you solve a problem, then you can't complain about a problem and campaign on the problem and make millions of the problems and, use it to, scapegoat other people, so
Yeah, but these like politicians in Poland were saying that LGBT rights were like an import that threatens um what makes Poland Poland, So I think a lot of conservative religious leaders, like again, when there's like really really strong religious organizations in cities or countries, I think to myself like it's not going to look good for gays because they love to focus on homosexuality. There's a lot of other things to focus on, but they want to focus on what they don't may necessarily understand. I don't know. These are things I
so
think about when I'm traveling.
ugh. Well, that is international because and CMO researched the wrong topic for a little bit, but
Well,
it works
these
because
things translate to states too, because our states differ in legislation and rights, and it's
totally,
it's scary. New York is a very different place than Oklahoma, so
totally.
we
So
have a lot of privileges being American, and there's also a lot of privileges for me to be in New York City specifically. But we'll get to that. So, what do you have first on your list? Should we do the best cities to travel,
we'll go a little back and forth act.
back and forth?
So we'll start on the worst side. I'll
Okay.
take number 5, and note these are the worst cities for a gay person to travel to. If you're a regular old white Christian male, you'll have no problems in any of these cities. So don't worry, white people, you're still safe. Anywho, for number 5, it's Provo, Utah. Utah. I just went Latino on you guys. Provo, Utah is the 5th worst city for a gay person to travel. And this is basically because it has a huge influence of conservative religious culture like the LDS, the Latter day Saints Church, or the Mormon Church, which often creates very unwelcoming environments for the queer folk, especially trans people. There's also not a lot to do, honestly, as far as LGBTQ plus nightlife or events. So if you want to go to a little bit more progressive area in Utah, you want to hit Salt Lake City, baby. But Provo
Yeah.
is still a very tough spot for queer visibility. And it's disappointing, especially because Provo sounds a lot like my favorite cheese, provolone, which is
It
one of my top
does.
threes. And I just, as a city that sounds so much like a delicious cheese, Utah, I really think you should have raised it better to be inclusive of everybody because everybody loves cheese. So that's my message to you, Utah. You do with it what you want.
You know what? I wouldn't. I don't really want to go to Utah in general, just because I think the legal age for marriage is 14, and I feel like something's broken in Utah. Like the kids,
Yeah.
um, under 15 certainly shouldn't be getting married. I don't think 15-year-olds or 16-year-olds should be getting married either. I don't think 17-year-olds should be getting married. I think 18, you're still a baby. I guess legally you're allowed to, but like, come on. Minors have no business like making those big decisions. And like a lot of times these young minors are marrying people who are much older, and they found like a pedophile loophole, So Utah, you're not high on my book just in general. Okay. What should I do? Should I do a best city or a worst
Yeah,
city?
let's go over to the best cities.
Okay.
And you can take number 5 right there.
Okay. So the best city for butt implants is Astoria, New York. All right. So, um, I'm gonna talk about. I've never been here to be honest, but apparently Las Vegas, Nevada, is like an
Oh yeah.
awesome place to visit
Yeah,
if
I
you're
bet.
gay, even. And so, their pride parades are like a big deal. and they even have a neighborhood known as the Fruit Loop with like a
Oh,
whole bunch of like fun gay bars and whatnot. So, Las Vegas, uh, I believe prostitution's legal, and so like sex workers
they're
aren't
clean.
as stigmatized as
Yeah.
like the rest of the world.
Oh, I gotta
Um,
get tested and shit. So, not that I've
yeah,
ever
so
used one, but it's good to
it's not
know.
on the DL, and when things are on the DL, that's scary,
Mhm.
because there's a higher percentage of people in the DL contracting things, and when it's out in the open, and there's education and support, and there's like community efforts to just make sure we're all being safe. You know what I mean? But you're on DL, you're less
Mhm.
inclined to do that and to partake. But anyway, Las Vegas is swinger friendly, it's queer friendly, it's weed friendly. Uh, and then I believe that Nevada law prohibits discrimination based on sexual orientation or gender identity in employment and public accommodations. So if you're looking to dip and do and have a good time, single or not, Las Vegas is a safe place to travel to. Go have fun.
Yeah, and I have to say, having been to Vegas myself, it is wild, and there's a reason why they say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and they're talking about booty sex. So just
Yeah.
know, whenever you stick in there, no questions asked. Vegas does not care. No, but Vegas is sweet, especially I've noticed that things that make a successful pride uh include lots of good colors, lots of music, lots of like dancing and activities and energy and shit and
And a lot of like baby oil.
oh yeah,
Um,
a lot of slutty outfits, and you find a lot of that all in Vegas. So
yeah, or Diddy Party.
oh yes. um okay, so anyways, that was the number 5 best city. And now I'm going to take you guys back over to the worst side. We're going to go with the number 4 worst city to travel to. And let me see here. Sorry, my thing is
Your thing. Did you lose it again?
just trying to type it in. It's very difficult. Uh,
Yeah.
okay, so for this next one, I'm going to go to a different little area of America where if you are a white Christian male, you're cool. Or if you are Dorothy from the Wizard of Oz, I think you're cool. Because I'm going to Topeka, Kansas.
Topeka.
Topeka, which I'm not gonna lie, the first time I heard of Topeka was in a South Park episode in like the late '90s, and I was like, "What the fuck?" But that is a story for another day. Uh, However, as far as why it's not a good place for the gays, it is known historically as the home of the Westboro Baptist Church, which is a super, 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 super anti LGBTQ plus church, like in their views, among many other bigoted stances. They have a long and very public history of attacking and condemning gay people with extremely offensive, inflammatory, and hateful language. For example, they claim things like God hates gay people, and their slogan is one that I can't read, but it's God hates F word. Simo can say it. God
But I
hates
won't say it because it's inappropriate, and I've
awful.
never in my life have ever succumbed to um saying that
And that's their
horrible, horrible
slogan.
word.
And also, then they read the Bible where it says God says to love everybody, but that's not hypocritical.
What kind of
Um,
faggotry is this?
Mhm. Now, while most locals in the area are not affiliated to it, it has had a national reputation for being unfriendly to the gays, obviously, with a slogan like that. Plus, I put this at number 4 because on top of all this, it also has a very limited LGBTQ plus scene or travel infrastructure. So you literally won't have shit to do.
Yeah. I I'm not interested in traveling for any reason. I can't really think of anything that's like remotely um uh, positive about this town. So I don't think anyone should travel.
Agreed.
um, what should I do next? Another good one?
Yes, sir. Bring us back over to the good side.
To the bright side was all bunnies and rainbows. So Chicago, Illinois is one of my favorite places in the whole world. I lived there for a very long time. This is why I think I sound like this. Um, Chicagoans are a lot more tolerant regarding the queer community than Americans in other cities. Um, there's some statistics that say that only 15% of Chicagoan residents oppose non-discrimination laws. That's 21% lower than the national average of 19%. Um, I think just 25% of Chicagoans oppose same-sex marriage, which is 7% lower than the national average of 27. So I think that uh, Chicago is very much a safe haven in the Midwest. I don't think the entire Midwest is like as gay friendly, but Chicago definitely is. So it's a nice safe haven. They have a great Chicago community, a lot of research for gays. So there's like the Howard Brown Center that is like huge for um, HIV AIDS research and resources. There's a lot of resources for like queer youth. You know, it's sad, but a lot of people come out of the closet and then their family kicks them out the house. Where do they go? Well, they go to one of our queer youth centers in Chicago for some resources. I also just think that Chicago, the city of Chicago spends a lot of money and resources on fun events. So during Pride, there's like a Pride Fest the week before the Pride Parade, and then that's in towards the second half of June, and then towards the first 2 weeks or so in August, we have what's called Market Days, and Market Days is it lasts for 2 days, and it's a queer positive street festival and Chicago's biggest summer celebration. It takes place in like the neighborhood, and I believe this is like the biggest like Midwestern outdoor festival in the Midwest. So anyway, I recommend
Right.
it. It's a lot of fun. But I lived there for a long time and felt completely safe and secure on the north side of Chicago, being queer, openly queer, holding hands and everything. I didn't feel weird.
I have to say, I was hoping you would put this one on the list, obviously, from having life experience over there. But it's yeah, I feel like Chicago is definitely a place I'd like to visit. That's one I've never been to. Um, Good for everybody. I will say people complain about the gun violence over there, but I feel like it's like every city.
Well, that's on the south side. You know,
Mm,
it's kind of like in New York. I don't
yeah.
think I have any business going over to like East New York unless I'm like on a train transferring to a different line. You know, but like I don't necessarily need to be there. But in like the West Village, I feel good. So all depends on the part of the city. I don't want to. There's parts of the Bronx that scare me. You know, there's also parts of the Bronx that I'm sure are beautiful. They have a
Yeah.
beach, so it all
Totally.
depends. Every city's got its drama.
Exactly. So I agree. And one of definitely I think it's one of the more famous prides that I know of myself as a straighty. So
It's normally the same weekend as New York Pride, and so it's Sophie's choice for a lot of us gays. They're like, which fun pride do we support?
yeah, that's true. That's like never mind. So if you could cut yourself in half, but that would be a hate crime, Carlos.
Yeah.
Anywho, we got
Anyhow,
now we're gonna go on back to the bad side. And for that one, I'm gonna take you on over to another place where you might not want to go. Actually, now I did Provo, I did Topeka. Now we're back to you, Simo,
also now I do a bad one.
for number 3. And then from now on, you'll do the bad ones and I'll do the good ones for the last 3 of each.
Okay. Okay, so guys, I never want to go to Memphis, Tennessee.
Tennessee.
So if you Google worst places to travel as a queer person, Memphis, Tennessee is in the top three. Um, I first and foremost, um, Memphis had, let's see, a couple years ago, it was like 400 homicides in 1 year, and they have super high levels of poverty. And so I just think that with a crime rate that's like well above the national average, I don't really want to go there in general, queer or not. But as a queer person, I think that Memphis, although it might be a fun city and it's probably home to like the blues and stuff, right? Um,
Mhm.
I think it struggles with its location being in Tennessee, which is a state with several anti LGBTQ laws. I think that um, the state's equality tall score is um, twice lower than the average state's score of let me see what I have here. The state's average state's score. I don't know what I meant by this, but I guess equality in general is much lower in Memphis compared to other cities in the state, and then also the state itself is much lower than the average state in America. So, as far as equality, you shouldn't visit the state or maybe Memphis unless you're a white man that's straight. So if you're queer, if you are, um, uh, let's say you're non-Christian, or if you are brown, this might not be a fun vacation spot for you. Sorry, I'm not gonna go either. We'll go someplace else.
Yeah. And I think it's so stupid when you pass like a don't say gay bill. It's like, come on. It's just, especially when you make things taboo, you make it so much more like cool and exciting. It's like drinking, same thing. Like once like you get your once you turn 21, that first couple of years, it's like fuck yeah, you get hammered and shit. But then once you can just go to a bar whenever you want, it's like whatever.
I think that there's a lot of like don't say gay type legislation, but I think there's a misconception that like you're not when there's those rules in schools, I my understanding is that they just can't teach anything about sexuality or gender identity. So I guess like if someone were to say that's gay or I'm gay, I don't know if they would necessarily be expelled for that, but I think the
Oh no,
teachers
no,
don't
no. They
allow.
have no problem with hate crimes. It's about just discussing your own sexuality. So I can't be like, my kid is gay. Please stop
But
bullying
also,
him.
this led to a lot of banning of books. So any books that had any gay themes or even showcased a gay character
Mhm.
is removed from the shelves. So there's a big part of just like American history, and it's sad to me because like they're like it's not American. I would say every American family. I know it's a bold statement, but I would say every American family has some queerness in it.
So
It's statistically just has to happen. It may not be in your immediate family, but somewhere down the line, amongst your
that's
cousins,
right.
aunts, and uncles, there's someone who either been dipping and doing in the same pond or thought about it, and I think that queerness, they say, I don't know about all of queer people, but they say gay people um tend to be 1 in 10, and I bet you this the percentage is higher than 10%. It's just that that's the
Definitely.
amount of people that have come forward,
Yeah.
you know?
Yep. And you can't just go around banning books just because they have gay characters in them. Imagine a world, an America without Where's Waldo in it, people. Waldo's clearly gay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's like, look me, find me, I'm fabulous.
Yeah, his books were scratch and sniff. If you scratch his mouth and smell it, it smelled like dick. He
That's
literally had
right.
dick breath.
So you can't just go around banning gay characters, you fools. So yeah,
He always looked surprised in every photo, it's because he had a thumb in his ass.
that's right.
Yeah.
What you don't see. Anyways,
Well, what's a
over
good one to go to?
we're back to the best cities to travel at number 3 on the top 5. You got New Orleans, or Nolans, as they say, Louisiana. And of course, this had to be on the list. You got a crazy awesome party scene with like Bourbon Street, the Southern Decadence Festival, which is known for like large parades, elaborate costumes, street parties, dance parties, and it draws crowds from all around the world. It's basically like an adult and sexy Mardi Gras, which is saying something because Mardi Gras is already wild, and more. Plus, there's LGBTQ plus friendly vibes mixed with Southern charm and gothic cool, which is kind of wild. And it's great for couples or solo travelers. So if you're by yourself or you got a special someone with you, there's lots of music, some places to dance. There's lots of food, good places to eat, lots of drag, and there is a huge community presence, especially during Mardi Gras and Pride, so you definitely will not be the only one having down there having some fun. So definitely check out New Orleans, and that's another
New
place
Orleans.
I've never been to New Orleans, and I hear it's awesome, and the food I gotta try it. Yeah, it's on the list.
I've never been, but I'd like to go. And
Friend of
then,
the show, Ron Prenamano, recommended New Orleans. I think that's where he did
yeah.
a bachelor party, actually. So we'll have to pick his brain about it a little
You
more.
ever watch the show? Oh shit, True Blood.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wasn't it set like around like New Orleans and stuff?
Ooh, that makes sense. 'Cause New Orleans is pretty old. So
But I think of like when I think of New Orleans, I think I was like beer and Bourbon Street, whatever. But I think supernatural. I think voodoo. I think because New Orleans is used a lot in TV shows that are supernatural. So like the
Mhm.
originals was a spinoff from the Vampire Diaries, and they were set in New Orleans, and there's a lot of history of like witches and whatnot in New Orleans. And then there was a season of American Horror Story, season 3. The Coven was set in New Orleans, which is super
Oh,
supernatural. And then there was, True Blood. Yeah, I feel like I just associate New Orleans with, I don't know, witchcraft and things like that, which I find
yeah,
to be
that makes
super
sense.
interesting.
Louisiana too is known for the voodoo, and it's like an interview with a vampire. I'm pretty sure that's where the vampires end up when they come from Europe and shit. So I do think it has its tie-in with all that witchcraft, magic, voodoo, ghosts and shit. So yeah, it's a good setting for it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Who doesn't like a French accent? Isn't there a town in Louisiana called like um Bon Ton or something like that? Bon Ton, Louisiana.
bon ton,
Yeah,
bon ton,
Bon
bon
Ton.
ton.
I feel like that was
Louis-
a town in True Blood, they would say. I'm from Bon Ton.
Oh my god, it is a fictional Louisiana town in the television series True Blood.
Oh, damn it.
It's not real.
Well, Bon Ton, you're
It's
real
a
to
rest-
me.
it's a restaurant called Bon Ton, but not, it's still real to Simo. Damn it!
All right,
But
well,
anyway,
next on
back
my
on
list.
the to the bad side.
So, Texas is known for being pretty conservative and like uber Christian and like radical Christians. And
Yeah.
I will say there's a safe haven in Texas. It's called Austin. Austin's very progressive. It's a nice little blue bubble in a sea of red. Um, but um, Houston, unlike other major Texas cities, does not have citywide ordinances that prohibit discrimination based on sexual orientation or gender identity and employment, housing, public accommodations. So like that's scary.
Yeah.
Um, I saw this statistic that said 3.5% of adults identify as queer in the city. And I'm like, if they say like 1 in 10 gay men, I'm sorry, 1 in 10 men are gay. I don't know about the rest of the population, the queer community, but LGBTQ is encompassing gay men,
Mhm.
lesbians, bisexual people, trans people, non-binary people. So if 3.5% are identifying within that umbrella, that's a very, very, very small percentage.
Yeah.
Which to me is like uh speaks louder than words, you know.
Totally.
So I have here that let's see, Texas in general lacks anti discrimination laws protecting queer individuals. And there's been legislative efforts that allow organizations to refuse services or adoptions based on religious beliefs that conflict with queer rights. While a hate crime statute exists, it's rarely used and doesn't protect against discrimination based on gender identity. I do think that there is like in Houston, there's I think a little town called Montrose that's like a safe haven for queer people. So if you're traveling and you happen to be queer, like that's where you should go. But I don't think there's any place like in like a 5 mile radius outside of that space that's probably a good idea if you are
Yeah.
openly gay. Now, if you can butch it up and no one's gonna question you, then I mean, like I guess you're safe. But some of us aren't that lucky.
Yeah, yeah, definitely not CMO.
Definitely not me.
I've
When I
seen you
open
in
my mouth,
cowboy
people are
boots.
like, "Oh, I know all about you." Okay.
I've seen you in cowboy boots.
Yeah.
Anyway, but also, that what makes it scary is that, for example, like when you have no protections like that in housing, for example, that means your landlord can literally kick you out of your home, your apartment, whatever, wherever you're renting from, because you're gay. Just be like, "Oh shit, you're gay? Well, lease doesn't want to see you, and you can't do anything about it. You just got to pack up your shit and go." And he might even fuck you over with the lease if you don't read it right. About if he breaks the lease because of you, you might get charged more, or have to pay some months' rents and shit like that. So you can get screwed over just for being you, which is literally the point of having these protections and these laws. So yeah, I don't blame you at all for staying the fuck away out of Houston, Texas. And maybe in the future, if this governor decides to go away one day, things can change, but I don't know. I won't hold my breath there.
Yeah.
But, anyways, back over to the good side. We got two left on my end over here. And of course, you have to include San Francisco because,
Why you say with a lisp? Why'd you do that?
if I was gay, I'd have a lisp. That's my gay lisp, my glisp. Anyways, but San Francisco is pretty much part of the historical heart of queer culture. From things like Harvey Milk to the Castro District, there's tons of LGBTQ plus bars, events, museums, and history tours. There's an iconic Pride Parade, legendary street fairs like the Folsom Street Fair, and queer friendly everything. And it's extremely progressive and has an accepting atmosphere. There's even gay serial killers out in San Francisco. You
Yeah.
know, got a little bit of everything. You got a little bit of everything in that history over there. So San Francisco is a good one where I have to say it definitely didn't start out good, but I feel like it was a place where a lot of closeted people became comfortable with themselves and then eventually just became way more open. But one of the reasons why there was gay serial killers out there was because the cops didn't used to want to prosecute crimes against the gays. They were just kind of like, well, good, fuck them.
Yeah.
But things progress, things change, which is why I have hope in you, Houston, because San Francisco over here turned itself around, put itself on all four, and took it like a champ. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Boom, boom, baby. So definitely check out San Francisco. And I know that it has a little bit of a homeless population that some people complain about, but San Francisco is beautiful. Uh the
It's
one
just
thing that's
expensive.
it is expensive. I was gonna say it's a little pricey. And it's also kind of a pain in the ass to fly out of because apparently it's very windy. So just add 30 or 40 minutes to your travel. But other than that, all cool.
No, I think to myself, like I think is a pretty city. It's clean. It's kind of expensive, but
Mhm.
I think sales tax is like 10.25% or something. Like it's high. But I didn't mind paying it 'cause I'm like, okay, like they do like regular street cleanings and like there's not a lot of dirt and like the air quality is good, so I didn't
Totally.
mind. San Francisco, there's some seedy places, but the most part, I think San Francisco's pretty clean, and like they have a nice their buses, their transportation, public transportation is pretty good. Like their buses are electric, you know, and
Yeah,
like I'm like, oh wow, like what a
the
this
trolley
they're
thing.
really yeah, like they're really like advanced technologically, and then like where we live, like you know, in New York, I think to myself, it's expensive, but where's the money go? Wait, why are there so many rats? What? Like just a couple years ago, who's our mayor? Eric Adams. He's like, we have a great idea. We have this whole extra committee that's going to deal with the rat problem, and we've decided, with you know years of
That's
funding and research, that we need trash cans.
yeah.
And we're like, oh wow, I'm glad I elected a smart guy to
Thanks,
fix
Mayor
this
Adams.
problem.
You fucking moron.
And then
Yeah,
like everyone's like, wait, what are we gonna do? Because uh our trash cans are blown away, or we can't like watch our trash cans all day every day. Like we have to go to sleep at some point. In the morning we can't find our trash can, or people have stolen our trash cans. What do we do? So they're like, that's a problem. Well, in a couple years we're going to make sure that you have access to good trash cans. We're going to make you buy our trash cans, and we as a city are going to make a lot of money off of trash. They're like,
yeah.
okay, still, but like they keep blowing away. What do we do? We'll get to that another day. But what's more important is knowing that we have branded New York City trash cans coming your way and a minimal fee of like $1,000. You know? So I it's just so backwards to me. San
I will say
Francisco,
there's
it's an
also
expensive city, but it's nice. I like
yeah,
it.
I will say New York is so overpopulated too. That's also the problem. Like we complain about the subway when when it takes 15, 20 minutes to show up. But that's like, for the most part, you have one that comes every 5 to 7 minutes. You know what I mean? And you can get anywhere you want in New York City. And the level of people that ride that thing every day and the amount of maintenance you have to do to it, even just to keep it running shittily, um, has to be astronomical. But also, like for every square foot in New York City, there is hundreds and thousands of people. The thing with New York City is that it goes up. But imagine if all those people went out on the street at one time. What the fuck, how crowded the city would look.
Yeah.
So it's just so many people out there, which means way more trash, way more, homelessness, way more everything, and it compounds. So it's tough. It's tough for to judge it based on just the astronomical amount of people that live here. So
Hmm.
I'll give it a buy just because of that. But hopefully things are getting a little better. I've seen those new subway cars and shit, and there's little things popping up here and there that give me hope. But it's definitely it'll be nice to go down to the subway station and not have it be 112 degrees and smelling like pee.
Yeah.
One can
Well, I have one left for the worst one. Should I do my worst one and you do the best one, or do you want to do the best one and I'll do the worst one?
let's go. Let's end. I'll do the best one first, and then we can end on the worst one.
Okay. Okay, sounds good.
It's almost like we don't need to switch conversations because we were just talking about it. But for what is known as the best city to travel in America, if you are gay, it's of course New York City. Hit it, New York. Diving for the gays. Yeah, yeah. Anyways, New York City is home to the Stonewall Inn, which is the birthplace of the modern LGBTQ plus rights movement. It has absolutely massive pride events in June that literally take over the whole city. It's fucking awesome. There is an absolutely legendary gay nightlife in Hell's Kitchen, Chelsea, and Brooklyn. Filled with cool gay bars everywhere and things like that. Um, it's diverse, it's artsy, it's super welcoming, and whatever your scene is, New York City pretty much has it. Whatever you want to do, it's here. Whatever kind of person you're looking for, it's here. So New York City, it has its flaws, but baby, you are beautiful, and I love you. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. So, I just want to comment on Stonewalling for a moment. Do you remember I did? I'm not gonna say who it was, but I did this like queer show for Pride last year,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
this guy that put the show together was like, he's like, I want you guys to know where you come from. You know, we a lot of young people. He got on his soapbox. He's like, a
Right.
lot of young people don't appreciate queer history, and I'm gonna learn you some shit right now. What do you know about Stonewall, the Stonewall riots? And these younger guys were
Mm.
like, I don't know, like it's a riot. And then he was like, a lot of people lost their lives so that you and I can have rights. And I was like, okay, so I'm not I'm not part of like the young group. Don't let the face fool you. I'm actually closer to your age, and I wasn't around when they had the riots, but it was a riot and not a massacre. And so he's like, "What's your point?" And I was like, "I don't think anyone died from these riots. So you just said people lost their lives." I think it was a very important moment of like when the gay community was like, I guess the queer community, where they were like, we're not going to put up with this anymore. We're going to fight back. Because back in the day, when cops, it doesn't matter what city, when cops would raid a bar, a gay bar, just because, and they would um, write everyone's name down, and then it would be published in like the local paper, and a lot of people weren't out of the closet, and so like um, it was just really mean, you know. And so, anyhow, uh, if anyone got hurt at these riots, it was probably the police officers outside Stonewall who were having like bricks thrown at them, you know, and rightfully so. So, I don't support crime against cops, but I think if I was going to choose a side back in the day, it's going to be the side of the patrons inside of Stonewall and yeah.
Seaman went up to the young kids and was like, "Don't let this face fool you. I'm one of the young ones." They're like, "Nah, I didn't fool us. Don't worry. We
they're
know."
like, they're like, you talk like an old person. We heard you say Nido Culo twice.
Sir, we know.
Your pants are tight. Enough said.
Anyways, back on over for the final one over the bad side.
The bad side. Okay, so I have a personal vendetta against this city, but also if you were to Google like top 10 worst cities for gay people, this would probably be amongst the top 10, if not the top three. But I just want to set the stage again that um, imagine me traveling and getting stuck in the city as a layover for over a day, and um, going to a restaurant to just relax, have a beer, catch up with some work, and have a patron in the bar next to you read Bible verses at you, um, because they saw you wearing a pride shirt. And then imagine reaching out to the bartender and say, "Hey, like, can you believe this?" And the bartender agreeing with the patron saying, "You should listen, you might learn something." So like I didn't to me, a pride shirt, I was at Ruby Tuesdays in Jacksonville, but I thought to myself, like, a pride shirt for me was just a clean t-shirt that I had in my luggage.
Totally.
I didn't think much of it when I put it on. I realized that anything you wear is powerful depending on what's written on it. But
Right.
I wasn't really thinking that I was gonna wear something controversial to Ruby Tuesdays. But I didn't feel safe anywhere. Even the people that I know are queer that work in hospitality at the hotel that I was staying at, even they were a little like judgy, and I just thought, wow. But you have to remember that Jacksonville is like part of the Bible Belt, and when you go to like really religious areas, there's a very good chance that gay culture is super stigmatized. So, I have written here that uh, Jacksonville has been described as one of the least gay friendly cities in America due to a few things. So, there's a lack of comprehensive anti discrimination protections, a history of negative experiences reported by the queer community, and the perception that the city just isn't fully embracing diversity. And I don't think they have any help from their, like, their elected officials.
Yeah.
Um, while Jacksonville might even have a large and diverse queer population, it's also one of the few cities in Florida without an anti-discrimination ordinance that specifically protects queer individuals. Um, and then, do you know who Ron DeSantis is?
Do I ever, Mister? Let me put some fake heels in my boots.
So I'm not a big fan of his, obviously, and he's initiated a lot of laws when he became governor. I guess what, like in 2021 or so.
Mhm.
That's when I feel like we started seeing him a lot in the news, and these laws and legislation have led to human rights activists to warn queer people against traveling to the state in general, specifically Jacksonville, and warning queer people that live in Jacksonville to flee to safer cities.
Wow.
Um, so,
He's been in power since 2019 now, which is
oh wow, okay. Well, since 2021, under Ron DeSantis, the state of Florida introduced lots of anti-queer bills, which have significantly changed queer, even queer and gay public life. Now, Florida is very anti-trans, but a lot of these bills are also specifically just anti-gay, and uh, it's just it's sad. I think that a lot of drags performers are very restricted as to, like, where they can and cannot perform. Um, and then, like, a lot of doctors like discriminate against queer people, citing moral beliefs, and like they're allowed to do so, and that's sad to me. So, in the queer community, there is preventative medication and measures in general, but there's something called PrEP. You know what that is?
no
So PrEP is
HIV.
uh
HIV.
it's preventive for HIV, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
I know.
like,
Yes.
my husband and I each take a pill every day, and
Mhm.
then, even though we're in an exclusive relationship, like, we just feel safer, knowing that we can't catch HIV from anyone. We take a pill a day. Some people, instead of a pill, they get a shot every 2 months, and that gives them a little bit of HIV medicine so that if they did contract the virus, there's enough medicine in their system to kill the virus before it starts to replicate. So, this is a great um, medication to have, and to educate queer people on, because in towns like Jacksonville, they're probably not talking about it. And
Mhm.
so I'm not saying that all gay people have HIV. I'm not saying that. I think it's mean to assume that, but I do think that there is a higher percentage of people who are HIV positive in the queer community as
Well,
opposed to other
totally.
communities. And so
And
I
when you
think it's
make things it's when you make things taboo, people are gonna, wanna do that. Also, when you limit access to healthcare, people are gonna be terrified to try to go and do this thing themselves. So it all comes with the laws that you set. So obviously, there's gonna be more HIV, more everything amongst everybody. So
Yeah. There's also uh a lot of laws against gender affirming care. This is just sad. But Jacksonville is one of the worst in Florida. So I don't think Florida is a great place for queer people, even though I know Miami's fun. Fort Lauderdale is super queer, but with the elected officials in power, if I was living there, I would be searching for someplace else to move.
yeah, that's unfortunate, but I have to agree. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. That was our list of the best and worst. The top five and top five worst, best or worst. God damn it, I'm stuck. Cities for gay people to travel in America. And heed our words. Check out these cities or don't check out these cities based on where they landed. Just because uh, we're looking out for you guys. But, anyways, let us know what you thought of our list. Give us a follow on all social channels and let us know if you think we missed anything. Shoot us an email at fratchatpodcast@gmail.com. You can give us a follow as well on social channels at Frat Chat Podcast. That's on Facebook. That's on Instagram. That's on Threads. That's on YouTube, Twitter/X. You can also check me out as well. Check out my website, carlosgarciacomedy.com. You can also follow me at Carlos Does the World on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, Threads, YouTube, Carlos Does World on Twitter/X. You can follow my good buddy CMO over here at chris.moore.comedy on Instagram, on TikTok, and see more comedy on Twitter/X. So, Mr. Mo, it's time for us to roll. So why don't you please get us out of here?
Can I be excused? I motion to adjourn this meeting.
And I second. So I really have to go. All right, you guys. We'll be back next week for another edition of the greatest podcast in the history of podcasts in time. It's the Frat Chat Podcast. I'll see you.
Bye.